Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm live in New York from the JCC Association of North America offices, and we're happy to have you with us as we continue this movement-wide leadership series where we bring together lay leaders and executives from across the JCC movement. Once again, I'm David Wax, board chair of the JCC Association of North America, and it's a privilege to welcome you. So before we begin, I just want to acknowledge that yesterday we held a JCC Association board meeting, and we had many meaningful conversations that were held there. But I also want to pause to recognize the tragic events that unfolded in Israel. We know many in our respective communities are feeling the impact deeply, and our hearts and prayers are with all of those who were affected, both in Israel and who feel it locally within their communities. Moments like this remind us of why we do the work that we do and why it is so vital to come together, not only as a movement, but as family, so that none of us feels alone in navigating these challenges. And that's why this series and these calls matter, and we're committed to continuing them every 6 to 8 weeks as our ongoing effort to stay in relationship and share openly with one another. So true to our promise, we're going to keep our call today to about 30 minutes. And at the same time, Barack and I will stay on after the call for an extra 15 minutes for anyone who wants to ask a question, offer a thought, or simply spend a little more time together. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my partner, President and CEO, Bark Hermann. Barack, all yours.
Great. Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to see so many people joining us. And for those that are not able to, we are recording the call and we'll send it out to the field. Just first of all, I want to just begin by saying that, we're in the month of Elul, the Jewish month, last month on the Hebrew calendar. And in the coming weeks, we will begin to welcome in the Jewish New Year, do our own personal and professional reflecting on ourselves, also repenting on any things over the past year that we want to move on from during the time of Yom Kippur. But the holidays in the month of Elul is actually very apropos for where this JCC association is right now, at a place of deep reflection, a deep understanding as we set goals of where we want to be a year from today. The Jewish world is facing real challenges. We know about the rise in Jewish hatred that we need to combat. We know we need to create a current generation and a future generation of proud Jews and proud communities that align with the Jewish people. And obviously what you just heard about from David, acknowledging the continued stress on Israel and our family there and our brothers and sisters. And I really hope and pray that our movement will always be unapologetically Zionistic and standing with Israel, but also understanding, just as we welcome all types of Jews into our JCCs and welcome all types of families and people, that we also understand that there's a variety of perspectives that can be seen at this moment. But we really, as we go into these holidays, we pray for the release of the hostages. We pray for peace in Israel, that the humanitarian needs are met, and that we can continue to strengthen Jewish life in our respective communities. My official start was in July, but since I began, I've now been in 12 communities across our country. And I will tell you that my love of JCCs is so clear, myself working in 6 different JCCs across 4 communities, but that we're actually way more alike than we are different. It's very comfortable to walk into JCCs. It's a lot of the same rhythm of programming and engagement and Jewish identity. But I've also come to already deeply understand how hyper-local things are for each community in terms of the Jewish market they serve, the larger market that they're trying to reach. But there are also just so many similarities. So, from Tucson to Pittsburgh to Phoenix to Scottsdale to Berkshires to Boston to St. Louis, Chicago, Atlanta, and Cleveland, to Palo Alto. It's really been incredible for me to see the work of my colleagues and the teams that work and do this work every day. Next up, I'll be coming, heading out to Ohio and back out to California. But what's been really helpful to me is that I've also been able to meet with already over 30 JCC executives and camp executives to really hear about what the opportunities are, and that we need to prioritize talent development and supporting executive leadership, executive middle management, helping to recruit the next generation of Jewish communal professionals, but that we also need to support our lay leaders who are also leading the charge of their respective Jewish community centers. So we're going to be looking into a lot of initiatives to also support our lay leaders at this time. And as also I traveled throughout the country, I really appreciated what I saw happening across JCCs. I was able a couple weeks ago to go to the Marcus JCC in Atlanta, and congratulations to their board chair, Evan Toporek, and their CEO, Jared Powers, for completing nearly a $37 million renovation of their JCC and their summer camp Barney Minutes. But what was beautiful was the level of excitement that this new renovation is bringing their community. I got to see the great work happening in Pittsburgh, led by Jason Kunzman and Scott Seawald, and in Tucson, led by Todd Rothkopf and Karen Mitchell. The quality of campuses and engagement that is happening. I also got to go to Cleveland and hear about the plans as they embark under their leadership with Jesse Rosen, a new transformation for their community to elevate their JCCs to meet the moment. I also have been in conversation with the JCCs in Vancouver, where they're launching over $150 million renovation starting next spring for their communities. So each community is in a different stage of reimagination, evolution, and may I say even transformation. And I just want you to know about what's happening in these JCCs so that as you consider renovations, capital improvements, program enhancements, that we share best practices happening across communities today that are doing incredible strategic planning. So key takeaways are that this is a time that's challenging for the Jewish community, but it's also an incredible time for JCC Association to work in partnership with the field to really identify the opportunities. And here's where I'm excited to share with you that the field has really come together. I've been an exec for over 18 years, and I've never seen us have a more formalized relationship between our local JCCs and our national movement. And we have a lot to do to continue to add value to all of our JCCs. But today, 82% of the JCC movement of 169 JCCs and JCC camps are in, and 138 JCCs and camps have joined. What an incredible statement. We're still working with a bunch of other communities to continue to make sure that every JCC is being seen and heard to meet their needs. And then you can see how it broke down. Grateful to the 18% that are ambassadors, and those execs in that pie chart will be serving as a CEO advisory group with me to help me think about everything is by the field, for the field, and what our priorities are. 102 are partners, and we have 11 affiliates. So what a great moment to actually have me be able to go out and meet with funders and major foundations and say that we are really representing right now 188 JCCs in camps and growing. The next slide will highlight that as we do our work at JCC Association, is breaking our work into these 3 centers of excellence. I have heard, both as a former board member of this association, as a field exec, how do we explain to everybody what the role is of JCC Association? And we're going to be focusing on a strategic plan that will break out 3 centers of excellence. Talent development, which is including both professional and lay people. Professionals mean from everything from early recruitment to middle management to C-suite support to executive development. Talent development also includes lay leaders and board chairs. How are we supporting membership directors, sports and wellness, summer camping, and early childhood? And just to speak on the place of early childhood, we recognize the stress and the immense pressure that early childhood has. And between our platforms with Elevate and Sheva, I still have already sensed that we need even more support to provide, to reach the bandwidth needed for JCCs, to do training and onboarding of in early childhood especially. So more is coming there. And Jewish Peoplehood, these are our initiatives. JCC Maccabi, we oversee the Jewish Welfare Board, which is all Jews within the armed forces. There's over 10,000 servicemen and women, equaling almost 42,000 people. And in the Mandel Center for Jewish Education and our Israel Center, these are all the initiatives, JCC Maccabi, that are about creating a true sense of Jewish peoplehood and creating a true sense of Jewish pride and responsibility. Those are the initiatives and types of things that you'll see coming out of the Center for Jewish Peoplehood. And then the third center is innovation and impact. And those are going to be the programs and services that help JCCs both save money, look at new ways of doing their business differently, and data measurement to effectively provide JCCs with the data they need and information they need to make business decisions. So as we have these calls and as you learn more about the work that we're going to be doing in partnership with all of you, it's going to fall into these three buckets. And I'm going to consistently try to report in that space so you can follow what's going on here. Our next slides are going to talk about the efforts going on in the Center for Talent Development. And I want you to know about these things, both from the professional side, but also for the chairs of the board, so they understand the breadth of what we're trying to do here. We have our resident camping conference next week at Berkshire Hills, Eisenberg Camp up in the Berkshires, and we'll be bringing together our leadership of our 25 independent and JCC partnered sleepaway camps together. Why I call those two groups, we have 13 camps that are independent, camps like Capital Camps, New Jersey Y Camps, Surprise Lake, etc., Camp Tawanga. And then we have other camps that are affiliated with JCCs, Barney Minutes in Atlanta, Camp Sabra in St. Louis, Camp Shy in Chicago. But collectively, these are JCC Camps of North America, and we are the largest Jewish camping platform. And we're going to be bringing together our directors and their teams to really think about the camping movement, recap what happened this past summer, and plan for the year ahead. The next thing coming up is ProCon. I'm very excited to share that we already have over 350 professionals signed up representing 77 JCCs. Our goal is to get another 100 people registered, to have with everyone over 500 people. And I want to thank those JCCs that have already signed up, 77 JCCs, that the other JCCs, please take advantage of this opportunity. There's nothing more powerful than sending your members of your leadership teams to a professional conference to create relationships, to network, to gain learnings, and to also be celebrated. This ProCon, which is what we're calling This Moment, Our Movement Connected, we need our staff to feel very celebrated. They are working very hard at very challenging times. So not only will this ProCon be full of learning and networking, but it will be a celebration of the people who make the work happen every day. So if you're already sending a delegation, I'd ask you to please consider sending a couple of more. And for those of you who have not yet built your delegation, please consider building one soon. It's going to be an unbelievable conference. We have over 60 sessions planned, 20 partner organizations coming. And one of the things that makes me most proud is that over 50 professionals from the JCC movement are planning this conference. Again, my theme being by the field, for the field. Almost over 60 people are creating this conference for their colleagues. So please take advantage and join us in Minneapolis. The next thing is we are really working hard looking at financial funding for our Kivunim program. As I've come to learn, there's over 50 new execs since 2020, and almost 30 new execs in the last 2 years. And I think we have 11 new execs that were just hired this past year. It is a big job to become an exec of a JCC, and we want to make sure that not only are we creating a cohort learning, but that we are really supporting each exec with their own executive professional development. And so we were able to get a major grant from the Mandel Foundation, and we'll be bringing together all the alumni of Kivunim since 2020 to ProCon. We're offering new executive coaching. We're also going to be offering field execs for executives to visit their colleagues and learn from them. And it will also include a trip to Israel, which is critical. And I want you all to know about this because some JCCs that might say, we're not using this right now. We have a long-time exec, which is great. Just it's important that the field knows that we're developing Kivunim, because there will be a time when the JCC will be looking for a new executive, and we need to make sure that we're ready to professionally support their development. So this is really great. Next is Mifgash. We'll be having our executive conference this year, February 2 to 4, held at the new completely renovated Marcus JCC in Atlanta. Thank you to our colleagues there for hosting us. We'll be kicking off our committee to plan that later this month. But again, this is just another important opportunity to bring over 150 to 200 executive leadership of JCCs together to really learn, share ideas, and share best practices. The next thing in the Center for Talent Development is that we have a number of cohort learning and peer communities and scholarships. And our Marantine Fellowship, our Martin Parr Israel Fellowship, and so on. I hope that all of you are considering taking advantage of these opportunities when we put them out there, and having your nominating members of your teams to please participate in these programs. Just our Marantine Fellowship, which has been going on for more than a decade, we have many execs today who were started as Marantine Fellows. What an incredible accomplishment. Our Martin Parr Fellowship is critical to help early professionals and mid-level professionals, mid-career, work on their relationship and thinking about Israel. But we need to double and triple the amount of people participating in these programs. These are excellent programs, but we're finite on how many people we can take in, which I think is disappointing. So my job is to find more funding so we can double the size of our classes. But please take a look at when these come out. We also gave out $150,000 in JCCA scholarships last year to JCC professionals applying for certificate programs, graduate schools in different ways. Please know that we have funds to help professionals in the field advance their skill set. The next thing in the Center for Talent Development is to announce how excited I am about my new colleagues. Many of them I know for a very long time. And Mazel Tov to Brad Finkel, the new CEO at the Weinstein JCC in Virginia, Paul Laurie from the JCC of Baltimore, and Holly in Cincinnati. I called those three out because they have been moving up through the ranks, and how excited I am to welcome them into our executive circle. After all three of those people, Brad, Paul, and Holly, had incredible runs as chief program officers, chief operating officers. But also big mazal tov to Oded Kraus and Larry Skolnick, who are taking on another JCC, a new opportunity, as Oded becomes the CEO of the beautiful Valley of the Sun JCC, and Larry Skolnick, formerly the CEO in Memphis, moves to the Evelyn Rubenstein JCC in Houston, another incredible campus and community for Larry to lead. So mazel tov to these all internal executive positions. Next slide is also a welcome back slide to Susie Cohn-Crumpler, the CEO of the JCC of East Bay, who had been formerly worked at this JCC of San Francisco. We welcome Susie as a new CEO, and Rochelle Reich, who's the executive director of the Worcester JCC, who formerly worked in a bunch of roles in Asheville. So it's great to have, since just July 1st, this 7 new CEOs. So welcome to the field. Also, we're now going to move into the Center for Jewish Peoplehood. These are the initiatives, again, that are really about connecting Jews to feeling like a true sense of kahila, a community, and a real feeling of that value of Kol Aravim Zeh Lezeh, that all Jews are responsible for each other. Nothing is probably more powerful than when we do that for young people. And kudos to Sam Cohn and our leadership team for this JCC Maccabi Games this summer. Just look at those incredible statistics and think about the amount of Jewish joy and Jewish pride. 2,600 athletes, 10,000 people totally engaged. And again, to Jason and Scott of Pittsburgh and Todd and Karen in Tucson for leading their communities. It was really, truly incredible. And just the pride that I saw around Israel, the Ukrainian delegation, that sense of global Jewish peoplehood, not just domestic, but global, was really, really, really powerful. The next program in the Center for Jewish Peoplehood is I want to take a moment just to talk about, obviously Israel is in our hearts every day. As David opened up the call, it is a very stressful time. And we want to make sure that we're supporting our colleagues on the front lines with support about dealing with the crisis facing Israel. Our job is to help you with questions, think about strategies. I don't know around this topic that we can always give you the answer, but create the right space for JCC professionals and lay leaders to talk openly about Israel, the importance of Israel, but the impact it has on your respective communities. So in the next slide, I want to really commend Leah Garber and the team in Israel and Karen Bierman, the chair of our Israel Engagement Committee, for this incredible work that we are doing with Mit Habarim, strengthening ties between the JCC Movement and Israel. We are giving out, I think, over 100 grants to 100 different JCC communities to do 10/7 commemoration programs. It's devastating to think that it's already been 2 years, and that but we must acknowledge to never forget what happened. And we'll be giving out grants now to 100 JCCs, doing over 138 programs. But way over a couple of $1 million has come out of this program to help JCCs celebrate Yom Ha'atzmaut, Israel's birthday, to commemorate and remember. And these are ways that we are really proud of all of you for the over, again, 138 programs and counting that will be implemented across North America to commemorate 10/7. Another way that we're acknowledging the way that you can think about Israel and think about your own, your own agency's voice and programming is our continued partnership with the Oshman JCC in Palo Alto and Z3. And as you see on the screen, my good friend and colleague, Zach Bodner, the CEO. But Z3 has become a great place to learn and have leadership labs. And I encourage all of you to think about attending Z3 this year, both as lay leaders and as executives, sending your teams. It's going to be a place for deep learning, deep sharing. And I think it's another way for you to both offer professional development to your staff, but really think and wrestle with what is your community's relationship will be and is with Israel. And Z3 is now doing also conferences in other communities. The other thing that we'll be launching later today and later this month is navigating the challenges in a post-October 7th landscape with two ideas. One is, how do we support JCCs, and what kind of support can we provide from the national office? So you'll be seeing in your executive briefs in more detail that we will be hosting with executives of JCCs different learning opportunities and discussion groups with membership directors, Jewish educators, people in different professions within the JCC movement, to make sure that they have a space to talk about the challenges they're facing being in their daily work. But what's really great is that Leah and I met with about 8 or 9 execs from the field, and they're helping us design this for the field. So we're really going to try to bring together groups for executives, groups for board chairs, to have a space to talk about navigating the challenge. And then at the same time, JCC Association is going to recommend speakers, different types of education materials that can be used within your boardroom and with your professional teams. Also in the Center for Jewish Peoplehood this week is Navigating Israel and the Rise of Anti-Semitism. We have partnered with Brandeis and UJA Federation of New York. 30 leaders are there from 12 JCCs, but we are now up over 160 people that have attended these Brandeis University with us, JCCA anti-Semitism seminars, led by the incredible Rachel Fish, who you can see her bio there, but really helping JCC leadership. This is our 3rd cohort, and like I said, we're up to over 160 professionals that have attended these seminars. Next thing is the Center for Innovation Impact. This is a new center at JCCA that we're going to be building out this next year. And upcoming initiatives is benchmarking 2.0. We have a group of execs right now working with Brian Hayden, our consultant, to just spruce it up, modernize it, making sure that we're asking the right questions when we do board evaluation, staff engagement, Jewish field impact, financial evaluation, to give you the data you need to see how you are doing year to year, and also to give you some perspective of how your work in your community also lines up with other JCCs of similar sizes. So we're going to be rolling that out in January. We just have a group of execs right now working with our consultants to, like I said, spruce it up a bit. We're also looking at group purchasing. We want to help you save money, and we've been speaking to some major national, international group purchasing companies. We hope to roll that out by January. And also we're looking at AI. A bunch of you have asked about how can AI help us? What should we be thinking about? And we're speaking to a bunch of different people about ways that we can do that for the field. The other thing that I wanted to make sure you're aware of is around security, especially at this time for the Jewish community. We're going to have a webinar on, as you see, on Monday the 29th, facilitated by Stephanie at the Deputy National Security Advisor for SEN. That's a relationship we have with the Jewish Federations of North America. I encourage you to be on this call, have your operations people on it, but there is some new tracking tools that we need every JCC to fill out. When there is an incident in your community, we need to know about it, log it, and then go through the channels to make sure we're supporting you, but also connecting dots between acts of anti-Semitism and different things happening in different communities. So please consider that webinar. And I also want to make sure that you're aware of that the new security grants application are out with the federal government. We've sent webinars about what you should think about those security grants. And if you need more information, let us know. And in closing, mark your calendars. We have what I just shared with you, residential conference, the security webinar, ProCon. We'll have our next movement leadership-wide call will be in November, and then our executive conference in February. And there's a lot of other stuff in between, but these are some big things. We're also going to be launching an Early Childhood Inclusion Summit. So please look at that. It's an opportunity to really support our early childhood directors and staff. We have applications right now for the Martin Pear Israel Fellowship. I mean, we'd love to see a lot more applications. There's got to be someone on everyone's JCC team that you should be nominating to be part of this program, to immerse themselves in Israel knowledge and experience, go to Israel, and then be able to come back to your community with ways they can support you. And then we're also having our fall peer community meetings scheduled. This is just what's going on the next 5 or so weeks. So in closing, there's a lot going on in the field. We want to do this in a way that you know what's happening. I recognize, as someone who was a CEO for a long time, there's a lot of information coming at you, a lot of briefs. I'll be working with Joanne and our marketing team to think about how to most effectively communicate and make sure that everyone's reading these things and being able to take advantage of the opportunities. But that just teases out, what's going on right now. There's a lot more going to be going on as we build out our 3 centers of excellence. Thank you all for what you do. It's 12:31, not bad. It's a minute off, but may I really say to all of you, thank you for the work that you're doing on behalf of your Jewish communities. May the season of Rosh Hashanah and the holidays bring you your own personal fulfillment and an opportunity to set beautiful goals for yourself and your communities in the year ahead. May my blessings to you and your families. Thank you very much for joining us.